Okay, I don't get this opportunity very often, so I'm going to take the time to record it. In this barn, there's house cats, so right here, like a feral cat. So there's your feral cat track. Now check this out. I'll show you the difference between the tracks. This farm also has a bunch of fox. So feral house cat size. Red fox. Coyote. Right, let's see. Cat, fox, coyote. Let's see what the coyote did. Yeah, definitely a coyote. Too big for a fox. Huge fox. Hey, came over here. Let's see, doing some marking. Sowed the fox. I mean, they kind of just run all over each other, but. All right, guys, let me show you this bummer. So, had a coyote. He came out of the woods, went this way. Actually, I need to put some cables up here because this is where they're going. Anyway, here's the cable that I have on a stick. I don't know if the stick fell or he knocked it down, but his trail goes right up to it, and then he works right around it. I like to try to keep this thing like this, but yeah, so they got me. They figured it out. Should have had a coyote, but I missed one. So let's move on. Well, guys, let me show you how important it is to make sure you're always checking on your cables. So yesterday I checked this cable and everything was good. Between yesterday and today, a deer must have ran through here and hit this. This is how you can tell it's a deer. Your cable will be just kind of messed up, but normally it's pulled tight like this with a loop. So that means a deer stepped in it and ran, and then it got stuck around its leg for a brief moment before it popped off. That's just what it means. When I say brief moment, I mean a real brief moment, because if it wasn't a brief moment, then there'd be a catch circle. No catch circle, but look, I have tracks in the fresh snow, something that came through. And if we go up here and see what it is, coyote. So we missed the coyote due to a deer setting off the trap. It wasn't a coyote that set it off, it's just not how they do it. There's no coyote disturbance in his track, so a deer did it before him. Really stinks it's two already this morning that I can see I missed. Yep. Came over here and played around. Left me a new little turd. And the ground's too frozen to do anything about. So I gotta get these traps fixed up, or I'm just gonna keep missing stuff. All right, guys. So most of the time when you see videos and the traps pulled out of the ground, and you're like, oh, that must have been a coon or something like that. Right here, just so you know, I've got canine tracks, and based off the size of the canine tracks, I could tell that it was a coyote. I had a flat set going on here. He was very interested in what was in that hole, but right there, my trap is pulled out of the ground and it is frozen. So my trap is frozen, but that waxer was working good enough where they're able to work the trap loose, but the trap itself is frozen solid, and coyote tracks all over it. I'm stomping on it and it's not going off. So yeah, got to keep these things running. But those fox were able to, those coyotes were able to pull that thing right out of the ground and not get caught. That's four. That is 4 instances today where I would have had a catch. I had 2 traps that were frozen that critters couldn't get caught with, and then I had 2 cables that they somehow missed. So I would have doubled my season's catch if everything would have been working properly, if luck would have been on my side, but I guess it wasn't. So we'll move on. Check this one up here. So once again, not really trying to catch a fox, but check this out. I got a set here that I didn't think they were messing with, but yeah, they came right over to it. Oh, that one was ready to go. Shoot. needs to be closer to the hole. But that would have caught a fox anyway, so that's not a big major deal either. But yeah, I got some work to do. All right, guys, I'm over here at this farm, and when I say they have red fox here, what I mean is the red fox live under their barn. Right there. They come in and out right there all the time, doing their thing. And these farmers, they don't really mind those fox. They don't do enough to them to cause enough issues, so. But they're right here. They live right there. And yeah, pretty cool. All right, guys, we picked up another doggy. I just set this cable here because I could tell that the coyotes were trying to avoid all this mud. And they were going around, so paid off. It's a little bit close to the road, so I'm going to get this guy taken care of, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, he's taken care of. Young male. Not a real large one, not like the big dog of the pack, but, you know, picked up another male. This is a 7x7 cable. In this video, I'm going to show the difference between 7x7 and 119 and why I like the 119 better. But this is 7x7. Like I said, they hold a coyote just fine. I don't see any fraying. I don't see anything wrong. We'll talk later in the video about the difference between those. I can't remember if I recorded it, but maybe 3 or 4 days ago, I came over here to check my traps. It wasn't frozen yet. It was real muddy. And right here at this puddle, the coyotes avoided it, and they went around on this little trail right here to just avoid this mud puddle. And I'm noticing this a lot on my trap line, that they'll avoid that mud. So maybe just, you know, jump ahead of the curve. If you've got a quad that you're riding around on and you're checking cable restraints and you have a mud puddle, try finding those trails around it, because that seems to be where the coyotes go. This has happened a couple different times for me. And that's exactly what he did. I believe yesterday, this cable was knocked down by a deer, and I reset it back up. So if you notice that your cable's laying down, make sure you're picking them up. I have to pick them up every day. Not every single one of them, but every day I'm picking up cables, and they pay off. And there's times where, and I already had it happen this morning, a deer will knock down a cable, and then a coyote will come through after the deer. So a lot of critters running, especially when it gets cold like this. Picked up number 5. We still have a lot of cables to check, so let's get moving. The fur on this one looks okay, but not great. I think they're starting to, you know, starting to become that time of year where they're starting to break and rub. Looking at the back of them, I mean, it doesn't look terrible, but definitely not the prettiest coyote I've ever caught. So, yep, number 5. It's good to get them out of the population, though, man. They cause a lot of problems. So, let's get moving on. There's a dead vole laying on this trail with coyote tracks going to it. I don't know if he dropped it when I came through on the quad. I'm not really sure. I think maybe when I came up here on the quad, he was like, or she dropped it and took off, because it's really fresh. Let me show you. But I've never seen one this big. This is huge. Look at that thing. Weird. I mean, he's still soft, but it's a little bit cold. But I'm going to leave it right back there. That's a huge one. Strange. Okay, everyone, as promised, the difference between a 1x19 cable and a 7x7 cable. I realized I didn't have any more 7x7 cable restraints that weren't set, so I grabbed one of my snares, and the snare has a 7x7 cable. So let me just show you the difference between them. So 1x19 means that 19 individual strands of wire are wrapped together to make one, and that is this one cable. So this one cable consists of 19 bound together little pieces of cable. Why I like the 119 better is it holds a better shape. So I can kind of, if you're watching, I can hold it out like that and it will stay at my shape, and it's a lot easier to get these things set where I don't have to put lots of supports to make them better. So that is the main reason. That's my pro for the 1x19, and that's why I like it so much. So the 7x7 cable, like I said, this is a snare. This is not a cable restraint, but it is a 7x7 cable. So take 7 strands, wrap them together, and make one strand out of that. So you have one strand that consists of 7 wraps. Do that 7 times, and you have a 7x7 cable. What's nice about it is when you catch a coyote in them, they're really strong. That coyote I held today, no fraying, nothing like that. So when you do make your catch, it's a very, very good solid catch. What I don't like about them is they don't hold the same kind of shape. So as I start backing away with my pressure, they dip down. So normally whenever I'm setting a 7x7 cable, I have to find different ways to, little sticks, twigs, and I got to figure out ways to support it to keep it right where I want it. The 1x19, sometimes a deer will run right through it, and because of my support system, it'll just sway and come right back to spot and be set for that. But the 7x7, that almost never happens. It always gets knocked down. So that's the con to that. But once it makes the catch, it's very solid. They're both very, very good. Now, this snare, it does have a deer stop. Actually, I had someone give this to me because they thought they were cable restraints, but I'll show you why it's a snare. So the deer stop is that little ferrule right there. I don't know if maybe I have to put my hand in front of it so you can see it. A little ferrule right there. And that stops, I believe the measurement there is 3.5 inches. The idea of this is that a deer steps its foot in there, or its hoof, and then as it takes off running, it's able to pop its hoof back out. That's the idea behind that. What makes it a snare is the way that this little washer is bent. It's not a relaxing lock. So once something puts tension on it, it doesn't want to slide backwards real easy. I got to fight with it. Now on this cable restraint, you can see the washer that's on it's much bigger, and it's designed to freely go back and forth, meaning when that animal's pulling and this thing is around its neck, once it pulls it all the way tight, I mean, it's putting a lot of pressure on it, but when it relaxes, this cable will relax also, allowing that animal to be able to breathe and for it to be restrained, so when you get there, you can decide what needs to happen to it. So if you caught a coyote, you can dispatch it, or whatever it is you're going after, but if you catch the neighbor's dog or a deer or something like that, you can let it go. One more part, and it's great because these cable restraints have different ones, is the whammy. The whammy's pretty cool on a cable restraint, and I like these ones. These are the plastic collar whammies. I use 9-gauge wire as my support, and I can very easily jam my 9-gauge in there and hold it right where I want it, and it's tight. So I really like those plastic collars. I'm not a big fan of these whammies that are like little springs. So here you go. Here's this whammy. It's a little spring. I put a 9-gauge wire in there, and it wants to kind of hang loose. So once again, I'm fiddling. So it takes me a lot more time to get these 7x7s out. Now I could get those plastic collar whammies on my 7x7s, and that would make them a little bit better, but they still have that, like I said, they're not as rigid as the 1x19. Both cables are very, very good options. In my opinion, you just got to do a little bit more fiddling with the 7x7 to make it work the same as the 1x19. But on the same token, when I catch coyotes and 1x19s, they normally fray one or two of those cables by the time I get to them. And I check my cables in the morning, so they're normally not in there very, very long. I've had malfunctions with my cable restraints in the past, but none of them have been a cable problem. They've always either been my split ring bent, that was in a video before, and then I've had 2, maybe 3 different times where a coyote did break the breakaway. Just a big coyote slamming back and forth, and it broke the breakaway. The breakaway is designed to break if a bigger animal gets caught, like a deer or a bear or something like that, but I've had them break on coyotes. So my malfunctions have always been in the parts on the cable restraint, not the cable itself. So both of these cables work really, really good. Just those are the slight differences. Thank you guys so much for watching. Consider, liking this video, subscribing, comment. Let me know where you're from. Let me know what you're doing on your trap line, or if you have any questions about cable restraints. You do have to take a course in Pennsylvania to become certified to be able to use the cable restraints. You can actually do that course online, and I think it's like $36. It's really, really easy to do. I highly recommend it. I lean on cable restraints really, really hard in the late season because we get so much freeze-thaw conditions. It's just too hard to deal with. So cable restraints are my go-to at this time of year. God bless, tight chains, and I'll see you on the next one.